Good morning, friends. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are here once again recording our podcast, Lighting the Candle, A World That Works. And as you know from listening to our 40 some odd other podcasts that we've got up on Spotify and Apple, we're just people talking. We're having a conversation. The whole idea here is for us to bring you some ideas and some thoughts that will give you energy and motor you through your day, or maybe wake you up a little bit, or give you an opportunity to just go limp and enjoy the conversation. So with that said, I've been kind of dwelling in this conversation of love today. Okay.
Ooh.
And so what I'd like to pose to each of you is the following as you identify yourself. And by the way, I'm Bill Carell. And again, empowerment, empowerment, empowerment. I'd like you to tell me and our folks at home what it is that you love about your life. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Let's get on board with what do you love about your life? And let's just kind of like take it from there. And I want to identify, we've got our regulars, Lisa, Vanessa, and Ken, and they'll tell you a little bit more about themselves. But I have also two other great folks that I've had wonderful one-on-one conversations with. And so we've asked them to come and join the fray. They will bring whatever they've got. They're both fantastic human beings and very, very smart ladies. And that is Jill and Sophia. So let's start off with Ken. What do you love about your life, brother?
Everything. It's yeah, that's kind of an interesting one. I don't think love comes with any qualifications. So of course there's discomfort and suffering, and there's joy, and there's passion, and there's boredom, and all of those things. Why not just love it all? Not a very long answer, but that's all I got for you.
You're usually a man of few words. And Ken, you want to tell people who you are?
Sure. I'm Ken, and I'm founder of Quester's Way, and just here for the awesome conversation and, meaningful human connection.
Awesome. Okay, welcome, Melissa. Melissa is another dear friend that the common thread here is we've all had just amazing conversations one-on-one. And as time goes forward, we'll have small group conversations on off days that will help kind of paint the picture. And if you're new to the podcast, listening to it, you'll get to know our personalities a little bit, and we'll get to talk about some things that might not be so comfortable in a large group, but they make an awful lot of sense in a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2, right? So the next, I'm going to introduce Lisa, and if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe share what you love about your life.
Hello all, Lisa Sheehan. I have been in media my whole life, but my current passion project is being a co-publisher of EPIC magazine, which is an acronym for Empowering People, Inspiring Community here in Connecticut. What I love about my life, EPIC is one of them, but the other thing is just came to mind, like I used to always say, and I still say, variety is the spice of life. So I'm glad that I love the fact that I've incorporated variety into my everyday life. So not just going day by day, not learning anything new. So I like to bring new things into my life and then share them with others. So that's what I love about my life right now.
Terrific. Thank you. Anything else?
I am complete.
Thank you. Vanessa, so that we're giving our new folks a little bit of a model, to how things work. Would you like to go next?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. So Vanessa S. Lewis, and so my background basically is I started out as, I'm a writer. I'm a freelance writer right now. And I was doing marketing copywriting for a while. So like Lisa said, being in media, similar there. And now I've taken to doing more freelance writing, and primarily writing around sustainability, spirituality, and the human condition. And so I just had an article published in Lisa's EPIC magazine, the last edition, and another edition. So it's kind of exciting. But the things that I love about my life, what's really interesting is that my life has been, I've been fortunate enough to have careers both in music and in writing. So, and I always wanted to do writing. I wanted to do professional writing, and then I ended up finding a professional career in music. And it always seemed like every time I tried to drop the career in music, I ended up, to focus on writing. Music always called me back, and so I've done that professionally for many years. I was a professional performing musician, professional songwriter, you name it. And the thing I liked about the songwriting was that I still was able to combine, the love of words with music. And so what I love most about my life today is I actually get to combine those two. And actually, I'll just give you an example, is that just this past Tuesday actually was sort of my dream day. I got to meet with an editor in the morning time, and then I headed out to the recording studio later that afternoon to record some original demos for a songwriter that I had worked with many, many years ago, who now that I'm pursuing this career in writing, here we go, someone finds me from many, many years ago and says, hey, I want to work with you in the music capacity again. And so it's just kind of interesting. So I feel like it's just loving your life. It's a matter of just surrendering to what you're, being called to do. And in my case, I guess it's not going to be one or the other. It has to be both. And I like that.
Awesome. Anything else?
Nope.
Then I think what I'm going to do here is follow the lead of my dear friend Melissa, and based on who was on here first and that enthusiasm shown, I'm going to ask Jill to go next. Jill and I are very special friends for a very special reason. Yeah. I'm going to let Jill do the conversation and tell them who you are and what you love about your life, my friend.
Bill, I don't know how to do the conversation. I'm really shy. No,
We'll see if we can pull you out a little bit, okay?
Yeah, get me out of my shell. So how Bill and I connected was around cancer. My job, if you will, but it's not a job. I feel like it's my passion, is I am with the American Cancer Society. And so what I do every day is share about the services and talk with people who have either had diagnoses or had loved ones with diagnoses. And then I try to raise money so we can do more work. And this is where I compliment Bill with all of my heart. We did a campaign together called Real Men Wear Pink. Not only is he freaking handsome in pink, whew, hubba. And I like girls, so that's saying a lot. But Bill is just terrific, cancer survivor himself. So I feel like I'm lucky because every day I live a dream of working in a passion. But in terms of introducing myself, I also have like a lot of things, irons in the fire. I own a business that used to be a full service advertising agency and event planning company, which is ironic. I think so many of us have that media marketing world in our background. Now I just consult. It's called Inspired Marketing, inspired after my mom, who passed away from cancer. I'm also a facilitator for this awesome networking group called The Breakfast Club, which I have a funny feeling we might hear about in a few minutes. And then I do a vodcast. That does not mean vodka while we do a podcast. It means a video cast. So it's myself and a young lady, Christina Tom, and it's called Two Girls and a Squirrel. And we do it because we both have ADD. We do once a week. We're not as cool as Bill. Ours is not up on any platform, but you can find us on Facebook at Two Girls and a Squirrel. I like to have followers. And then to answer your question, Bill, and I kind of saved it for last because I think that what I love about my life, when you asked us how we were doing today, I said, I'm doing great. I'm on this side of the dirt. And, everybody chuckled. So in 2020, Jill likes to do everything big. So instead of just living through a pandemic like the rest of us, I decided right before the pandemic to fall. I was 316 pounds. And when I fell, I tore my Achilles tendon. Then I had to have massive surgery on my birthday. And then I was healing and recovering and went to an appointment for a routine checkup, which I insisted on having because they wanted to push it a week. That's very important to know, and I share with what happens. I said, no, I want to see somebody. And Friday at 4:30, I saw a random PA who thought I had a blood clot. I ended up in the hospital. This was now the height of COVID. I did not have COVID, but I did have a full left leg blood clot from anybody who's listening who knows science or bodies, from my femoral artery to my ankle. Typically, they send you home with a clot and give you blood thinners. In my case, it was the largest clot they had ever seen, so they admitted me. They normally don't do any further testing, but they scanned me and found the clot was sitting butterfly-like in both lungs. So I kind of should be dead. And when you realize you should be dead, it makes you wake up every day and be appreciative that you're not dead, because it's really hard to get all my stuff done if I'm dead. So after I came home and got my lungs a little bit back in shape, I decided, and this is kind of hopefully the people talking and lighting the candle of empowerment of what I love about my life, is I have this beautiful wife who said, I love you no matter what. You are gorgeous. It's not your weight, but I want you to live, and I'm scared. And on June 1st, at 316.4 pounds, I started a journey to get healthy, not about fitting into jeans, but to get healthy. And as of this week, I've lost 154.4 pounds.
Wow.
So thank you.
Excellent.
It's also being able to share that, because that's a big thing, especially for the women on the call. I think we don't share. So I'm proud to be able to share it. And that's what I love about my life, is that from this journey, from my mental health work as well as my physical work, I've learned to be proud of myself and proud of who I am. So that's my story.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bill.
I appreciate you pretty much covered the beach there, and we have a lot of room for our new talking heads to tell us about yourself and what's important in your life, because after 40 some episodes, they know who Lisa is, they know who Ken is, they know who I am. And this is really neat, because we're counting on having the extra pizzazz that y'all bring, and we're looking forward to it. So next in line is going to be my dear friend, Sophia, who I love madly, and I always will. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Sophia, and also what you love about your life, please?
Oh, sure. So I'm originally from Ukraine. So I love the fact that we had the opportunity to come to the United States and get educated and create a life, especially for a female, like to be single, strong, my own business. Where else can you have an opportunity like that? I also love the ability. So in my professional world, I'm a financial advisor and a planner. So I love the opportunity of just talking to people every day, seeing what's important to them, what they love, what goals are, and help them accomplish that. I don't know if there's anything else out there like that in the world. So, I mean, at least I love what I do. But most importantly, I love my family. And so lucky that we're all healthy and alive, and the kids are growing and they're amazing. I always talk about my little goddaughter and my niece, Bella. She's like the little light of my world. And then there's the friends like you, Bill. I mean, get up, Jill. I'm like you. I get up every morning and I'm so grateful to be here. So grateful to be alive, to see, to hear, to be able to walk and talk, right? Just fortunate little things. Call my friends, go out, enjoy life, travel, see it, eat the food. There's so much food out there. So good. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me here. And yeah, loving love of itself. Life. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad you're here. And don't forget to mention the love of IPA. Okay, that's very
the
important.
love of IPA.
Yes,
Keep bringing them on. Love Connecticut for that.
Like bacon, it's its own food group, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So next, again, I don't want to leave this out, because I declare that I love Lisa, Vanessa, and Ken every single week in every single podcast, and that's no change. But it's a blessing to have you here today, Melissa. We have this amazing relationship now going on for almost 15 years, and I love you madly, and I always will.
Well, thank you, Bill, and thanks for inviting me. I'm kind of excited to be here. I I guess I'll introduce myself to everyone because of course, I know Jill and Sophia and you, Bill, and Vanessa, who I miss you, Vanessa, so much. But I don't know Ken and Lisa. So, so my name is Melissa Boucher, and I run and facilitate the Breakfast Club networking group. So it's a networking group that I started back in 2008. And it was started off with just one group, and now I have 10 groups that range from, Massachusetts all the way down to Hamden, Connecticut. So I have, so what I do is really fun. So what do I love about my life? I'll just start with the job because it is a big part of your life is what you do, and having passion and love for what you do is so important. And being an extrovert, it's really kind of cool to just be part of a networking group or these networking groups because you get to meet so many amazing people. And the people that I meet, mostly entrepreneurs like Sophia and Jill and Vanessa, like those are the coolest people ever. I mean, they're way cooler than the people who work at, in a big corporation. So it's just really fun to be connected to all of those people. And so every day, number one, my job is super flexible. Number two, I get to meet and talk to people all the time, find out about them, their interesting stories, their backgrounds, like we were doing today. And I also get to learn. I learned so much from all these people. So these kind of hit all of my hot buttons of what I love. So it makes me very happy. I feel like I have like such a great support system with the Breakfast Club and its members because they become like just deep friends. They're like family to me. And I already have like a really great family. I have my two sisters who live here in Connecticut, and we're really close. The cousins, my two boys are great. I am very happy. I really, sometimes when I get sad and not in a great space, I'm like, why? Because everything is really going really well for me. I have a fantastic boyfriend too, who normally I've been in relationships where they start out really great and then they just start to go south. So this time around, it didn't start off that great, but then it just like keeps getting better and better and better. And I'm like, wow, I'm really like getting nervous now because I'm like, this is really great. And it just keeps getting better. So I'm like, I'm very happy with that. So life is good. I'm so inspired, like I said, by so many of your stories. Jill, I love your story too so much. And Jill is more of a newer friend for me, but I'm just like, it's just so great to hear those inspirations and stuff, inspirational things that people have gone through. So again, thank you so much, Bill, for inviting me. Happy to be here.
It is my complete pleasure. And to just kind of bring everybody up to speed, what our deal here is this is a conversation and a dialogue. And as a result of that, I get to ask questions of the participants, and you can choose to answer them or not. I mean, we really don't care, do we, Ken?
Nope.
The conversation is
it's all the asking of the questions, right?
Absolutely. Once the question comes out, it's your choice to pick it up and run with it. So after we've gone around here, and I'm educating our listeners as well as our new participants, essentially I'll ask another question. And then whoever is moved to answer it can go first, and then somebody can come second and third, and it might be Vanessa, you never know. But my question now is, how did you feel talking about what you love about your life?
I think number one, I think it just any time that you spend some time being grateful, it makes you feel good. It makes you happier. And you're like, and so as we were going through this question, I was just like, wow, when I was thinking about what made me happy, I'm like, why do I even complain? So that's what it made me think of. So, yeah, it's always a great exercise to focus on the things that are going right in your life.
Terrific, Melissa. Who else? How did you feel when you were talking about what you love about your life?
For me, I think like right now there's that whole concept or conversation that's very prevalent about being mindful, um, and like, taking reflection and all. And I'm terrible. Like the whole, I get the heebie-jeebies when people tell me to put my feet out flat on the floor and breathe deep and close my. It can't. And so I don't spend a ton of time reflecting on what I'm grateful for and what I love. So I was thankful that I took that moment and that look, it didn't hurt. So I'm just really grateful because I think I want to do it more. I just have to learn not how to get all squeamish about it.
It's an acquired taste for most people, Jill. It's not something that you walk down the street and some guy comes over to you and says, you know what I love about my life? For some reason, it's not the conversation that's out there, but we are lighting the candle, right?
Yeah. I think that's what's cool is like this little spark of the candle. Like I'm taking the candle and hopefully somebody that's listening hears it and goes like, oh, wow, I can be proud of myself for X. Like I can share that. And then maybe they share it and then somebody that hears them shares. And like, I think that concept that you have, Bill, is terrific.
Yeah. Terrific. Thank you. Now I'll turn back to.
Yeah, and I think we should have.
Whoops.
Okay.
Hello?
I think next we'll go to one of our older panelists. Not that they're older in age, but they've been around longer.
That was mean.
Yes, Lisa.
I'll just say that because of we're so habitually attracted to the negative that anytime you bring up the positive path, to create those new neural pathways of thinking that way all the time. So anytime we can bring up or make people think of something good. I mean, I had a hard time just thinking about what do I narrow it down to? What do I love? And I think if people just take a moment to realize how much good is in their life, they can find more things that they love. And there is so, I mean, especially for us here in the United States, it's kind of hard to not love things.
Amazing. Ken, as you were sharing what you loved about your life, how did it make you feel?
It's just a feeling of connection. So it's always interesting. And what really resonated was hearing the love in everybody else's life, because when you start to think about the love in your life, that's something we all share. We talk a lot in this about getting deeper to the things we all have in common and then building back up from there instead of just looking at the symptoms of anxiety or stress or anger or whatever's around. So yeah, and it's funny because love is it's a heart language. It's not a head language. So really in the end, what you find is the deeper you go, the harder it is to find words, which is where that mindfulness comes from. That's why it can be an uncomfortable space because you just got to hang out there and breathe and be open, and you can't really quantify it. You just got to surf it. So but yeah, so that was just the feeling, I guess, just warmth and connection.
So that's an awesome thing that you're bringing up. There are things in life that translate as feelings that it's a struggle to bring language to them, and in that struggle to bring language to it, you are reinforcing your connection with what you love about your life and the fact that that is a very important expression for human beings. It's good stuff. You brought up two other things, which are segues that I'm intending to bring up afterwards. So, Vanessa?
Yeah, so it's just interesting what you're saying about putting words to things. I think and especially doing it verbally, I think that's a big reason why I'm drawn to writing, because I'll just lay it out on the table right now. Oftentimes in this podcast, you guys might hear me go silent for a while, and then sometimes Bill checks in and says, hey, do you want to say anything, Vanessa? Do you want anything to add? And I say, oh, I'm just listening. And that's often what you'll get as a response. I love to listen to people. And I too was very inspired by hearing all of the stories Jill, your story was absolutely amazing. I was so touched by that. I'm sure that's already inspired so many people.
Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. But yeah, so I'll just put it out there. Okay, I'm kind of the shy one of the group, so I very much would rather listen to what people are saying. But to answer your question, Bill, while you know, I was sharing, I was one of the first people to go, and I just after hearing everyone else share, I thought, oh, well, okay, first of all, I was very excited by the first thing I thought when you asked, us all to reveal what we love most about our lives. My first thought was, wow, that's an easy question. And also, I was just coming off of some energy personally that happened to me this Tuesday. And by the way, the wonderful, lovely editor that I got to share coffee with, that Tuesday morning before heading to the recording studio was Lisa from Epic. So I just wanted to put that out there right now. But sharing, just hearing you all share about, everything that you're saying, I agree. I think that we can all agree that, it is, we are drawn to the negative, like Lisa said, and as human beings, it's challenging to really focus on what we feel grateful for in life, and it's also very easy to take things for granted. So and I think we'd rather the things that we focus on tend to be the things we may complain about, and then they expand in our minds, and then that's how we can end up taking things for granted. And so I had felt two things though while I was sharing, was just that I didn't share about having a wonderful marriage, enjoying my husband, and also we get to do music weekly now, direct the music at our church, and just I don't know where I'm going with all this, but I feel like when this is kind of general comment, but when we all share, it's good to bring up things that might invoke some emotion. So so I was just on this high of sharing about the music and the writing and combining that, and I was like, oh, that's just, maybe that seems so shallow. I don't know. So that's where it's left. Thanks.
You are very welcome. And for the edification of our new ladies, our producer doesn't like silence so much, but we kind of enjoy it,
Yeah.
It's so funny, Bill, that you say that, because so my background, my first career was radio.
Yeah.
So that was like my formidable years. I spent 15 years on air in radio, and so you fast forward to my later adult years that I'm in now, and I get grief sometimes for, like, I cut people off, or I make not as much now, but self-deprecating jokes, and I'm always kind of a smart aleck, and silence kills me. But it's funny because I've done a lot of work around it to figure it out. And when your formidable years of your career, all the things I was taught was no silence, make fun of yourself because everybody can relate, be funny because people love to laugh. So it's like so interesting because I get in trouble in these types of settings because I'm constantly like cutting people off and jumping in. And so I try like a 30-second rule in my head. I usually get to about 16 seconds and I get all, but yeah. So like that silence was killing me, but in a good way, killing me, Vanessa. Like,
All right, put your hand in the air if all of you wanted to say something to help her out, or kind of fill in the space, or see, that's such a natural training reaction that we have. And the reason we call this lighting the candle, a world that works, there's a tenet that I don't remember who said it, but never break the silence unless you think it's going to improve. you know? So if you can stand being with silence and your own thoughts, then you're a master, you know, there's no doubt about it. Now, that doesn't necessarily translate well to podcasts, but you at home that are listening to this, don't be afraid of silence. It can be your friend, okay? And Vanessa, thank you so much. And we have you on because just when we're talking one-to-one, I know you and trust you and like you and love you. And the fact of the matter is that you are, for me, somebody who, when you speak, it moves the world, okay? And that doesn't put pressure on you. That's just how I regard you, okay?
See, Bill, that's where I would say something smart ass. Like I would say, and the difference, Vanessa, is you move the world, and when I walk, I rock the world. You know, but that's like
love it. I love it.
And I'm sure people at home can relate because, you know, we're so attuned to cliches and getting through and surviving a moment and on to the next thing without actually really living that moment or experiencing it. And the fact of the matter is, what you love about your life is not a 30-second speech. This is an opportunity to really dig deep and share with somebody who you really care about. And I'm really fortunate to have, you know, all of you on here that I care about a whole bunch. So all of that said, Vanessa, did you have anything else?
Oh, please, no. No.
Stop.
You know what? I want
No,
you
I'm
to
good.
know
Thank you.
that life occurs not in the skating, it occurs in the struggling, okay? It's a, you know, the cocoon and the butterfly and all the rest of it. We need to have space for people to struggle, right, Jill?
Yes, very much. And because in that silence, whew, some
And
stuff.
just struggle in general. Have you had
Yeah.
days and nights where you couldn't sleep and you were worried in the last year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, my newest thing, and this is weird. So you guys all got really excited when I said I had lost, you know, 150 plus pounds, and I'm appreciative. So what comes up for me is I've been really publicly sharing. Bill knows and Melissa knows. Anybody who wants to follow my story on Facebook can. I've made it very public. You can just find me, Jill Munson, or Jill Munson Bishop, I think. That's my wife's last name. But Bill, I mean, it's so ironic because the thing that's freaking me out right now is what I there's the thing called the imposter syndrome where, you know, I describe it as like Wizard of Oz. I'm the little woman behind the curtain running the cranks and I don't want anybody to catch me. And I've really lost the weight. It's really gone. But I have this mental block that I'm a failure and I'm a fraud and I'm going to disappoint people. And so every time someone says that I inspire them or great job or any of, I take it in and I turn it back out into I'm going to mess this up. And so I'm working through that. I mean, I'm when I tell you therapy is just as important in a health journey, but that keeps me awake as I'm so afraid of disappointing others.
That's
my
fantastic.
mentor would say, "Oh, sorry, Bill."
No, go ahead.
My mentor would say, "That's your BS detector, and it's your friend." Yeah, and
I love
it's
that.
The imposter syndrome. Just the fact that you're being vigilant, that you're being true to your message, and you're checking in with yourself. You know, so I get more worried about people who don't do that.
Interesting.
You know,
I appreciate
Exactly.
that.
So rather than having it be a negative, you now have the possibility to transform it into dashboard lights, okay? You know, we may not have gauges yet, but you definitely have the lights that are telling you to check engine, right? And in that moment, when you can review that and feel it and experience it fully, as opposed to explaining it away and coming up with an excuse, it gives you an opportunity to know yourself better. And I think that's where Ken was pointing. A master is always going to put a mirror up in front of you and let you see the best and the worst. And in the noticing the worst, you get an opportunity to claim what you've always thought about yourself that's total nonsense.
Yeah.
So with that said, this is where we are in our first episode, and we're going to call it here, and everyone say goodbye to the folks at home. We love that they're listening and tuning in for us every single week. And we will pick you up on the flip-flop and when we start up again in just a minute or two. Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
You've been listening to Lighting the Candle, a A World That Works, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can hear us at exvadio.com/podcasts, Apple Podcasts app, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts.